adjust this a little bit because I've cleared my desk off here. Okay. I think that looks straight, but I never know for sure. There we go. Okay. So I have the stream up. There we go. Okay. So I tried to do this on Thursday night and had problems. So I'm hoping with the internet. So I'm hoping that it's going to go okay. And actually it is not straight. Let's try this again. Hoping that it's going to be okay this time. I did actually go through and reset my router before I came on in the hopes that it would be okay. And now I'm actually going to come in closer to, sorry guys, I hate to do this when I've got you up already, but I think it'll be helpful because it'll be a closer look. When I scrapbook itself, I like to just kind of do a further out. This is really weird. There we go. Yes, yes, yay. Okay, sorry about that. So, tried to do this the other night and I couldn't because I was having internet problems. So let's hope it's going to work today. The weather it's snowing out. It's not sticking very much, but it is snowing. So actually, first things first, this is my album from scrapbook.com. They do have a red version as well. I'm leaving it very simple. No embellishment on the front at all. All I did was take my Doodlebug alphabet soup and I put the numbers on for this year, and that's it. I'm not going to embellish it on the inside either. It is very chunky. It's actually a little chunkier than this, and I'll show you why in a little bit because I did pull some things out at the end just so that it was easier to see. And I talked about that, I think, on the very last video. So let's start out with day one. Day one, I was sick. If you were following me at all, you know that, that it's been a crazy amount of time. So with day one, I just did a simple layout. I usually do something that says Hello December. I go from December 1st through January 1st. A lot of times I'll take a photo or I'll have a photo that I pull from the internet that has Hello December, but I had this Hello December from Colorcast Designs and I decided to use that this year on just a piece of paper. I'm using two collections here, mainly Ellie Studio Document December from this year and past years, and then Echo Park Happy Holidays as well. So something I like to do often, this 2 3x4, 1 4x6, use a journaling card, a photo, and then something decorated or a bigger photo there as well. So that's kind of a standard for me. Day two was a day that we went to see a really beautiful light show called Enchant, and it was very blue and white and gold. So I really wanted that feeling for my page. So you're seeing gold accents with some rhinestones as well. We'll come back to this. I did use my new favorite page protector, which is the scrapbook.com flip out. So it's 4 3x4 pockets and then a flip out that has 2 3x4 pockets on both sides. So that allows you more photos. Plus there's another, obviously, 4 3x4s on the back. And that has definitely become my new favorite pocket. Again, just lots of diamond, gold, that kind of thing. And then I use these little die cut tabs from Ellie's Studio. They had them available at Christmas this year, and they're meant to do this so you can put extra things into your book. I just used some gold foil paper, did them back to back, and used this program that we found the reindeer because there was a little search involved in this. And then added just a sticker and some rhinestones and a gold star there. And then the back was not very nice looking. So I found a piece of paper I liked, added a little doily, a journaling card, and a picture of the two of us, and kind of zhuzhed that up a little bit. So it was fun, and I like different textures. I like different sizes in my book, and definitely with this layout, I accomplished a lot of that there. That's the other back half of that. And then the next thing I did is I made the day 2 and day 3 layouts and then came back later on and put this little separator there. Sometimes I'll use acetate. I did not buy any acetate, like printed acetate with snowflakes and that kind of stuff. I didn't buy any of that this year. So I just took a piece of vellum, used my We Are Memory Keepers tab punch here, and then or the reinforcer hole punch to reinforce that vellum, and then just decorated both sides because this side was really formal. This side is much more informal. And I wanted something to separate them because I didn't really care for them together. So what I will usually do, a lot of times I do use a doily, or I use something that's exactly the same size on both sides because I don't like seeing the glue on the back of the vellum. So that's why I usually decorate two sides of this. So, and they definitely reflect more formal and more casual here. So this is a doily from Sunny Side Up Bakery, which is Hobby Lobby, in the Hobby Lobby cake section, a 6-inch doily, and then some old crepe paper, Snow and Cocoa, the chipboard, just another little sticker there, and some old snowflakes from that crepe paper collection. So then day 3 here was a story about my advent calendar, which was a cookie calendar from Costco. I wouldn't recommend it. I love biscotti, but it was more than half biscotti. And after a while that got really old because it was only 2 flavors of biscotti, and I wouldn't do that one again. So, but the story, so I wanted to document the calendar. And then the funny thing on day 3 is when I opened the door up, it was empty. So I made a whole comment about being very naughty this year because I didn't get this cookie on the 3rd day. Come to find out at the end, I shook it just to make sure I'd opened all the windows and gotten everything. And there was a biscotti in here. It was just stuck way at the bottom because I could hear something. So that's that. So again here, that 2 3x4, 4x6, and I used again this for a little bit of decoration with a piece of paper. This is where I did my journaling this time with some old puffy stickers. I combined Ellie's Studio and the Happy Holidays here. And then across from this, the same doily, a piece of chipboard from the Happy Holidays collection, and then some stickers from that same collection. And this should, even though it's pretty heavy, it should be okay. My books do sit up on the shelf just like you would any book. I really think that's the best way to preserve them because I do use things that could damage the pages around it if I didn't store them that way. Backside of this one, kind of the same formula. At this point, I was pretty sick. And so I was trying to do things that were a little bit more simple because as doing these lives, I was having a hard time talking. So I kind of the same formula that I've used in this particular case. Again, it's a journaling card, but I'm using them in different ways. So, you know, that one's down here on the 4x6. And then, you know, this one is up here. So it kind of mimics this layout, but I'm not using this as a journaling card. I put another die cut over it with a puffy heart. Sometimes what I'll do is I will use this spot, and I think this spot is journaled on in another layout a ways away. Or I'll put a separator here at this line when I use that. And then this is a 4x6 journaling card from this year's Ellie Studio journaling pack. And I just added die cuts, chipboard, and some stickers from the Happy Holidays, and I think it works really well together. And then these dates. You will see that I change up my dates. I don't use the same dates all the way through, and that is A, because of color, and it doesn't always work well with whatever layout I'm doing, and then B, because I actually go 32 days. If I used all the same all the way through, and then on the 32nd day I did something different, that would look weird. So that's why you'll see me do that. Day number 5 is my first shaker pocket. I have a We Are Memory Keepers fuse tool. So I did use that just to seal the top of this. I did have the sequins in, I have a tiny little, I'll show you these. It's just a tiny little, it's a lockup little thing. This is from the Container Store, but you can get them from lots of different places. And I had this mix because I think I had made them last year. I'd used some old sequin mixes and added some stuff to them. And then when I did this, because I wanted to use those wood books, I added in some wood stars and trees to get the wood in each of the quadrants here. This is my journaling spot here, but this particular time I used a 3x4 card and then just a little Ellie Studio label sticker there. I didn't have a lot to say. I do this every year where I read Christmas books pretty much during the month of December. Sometimes even I start in November, and we'll go to even into January. I just finished a Christmas book like the 2nd or 3rd day of January. Oh, Janet, welcome. That's cool. That's nice. And hello from Wisconsin. So that's very cool that you're here. Just added some paper here. I did use a paper with numbers because I count my books every year. So wanted to, get that kind of documented with a counting thing. And I love this when you can see through. Now, I probably would have preferred it if you could see through to the photo. I think that's much more interesting, but that's not how this one worked, and I'm fine with that. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Here's the back side of that shaker pocket. This one layout on day 6 is about some holiday treats that I bought. Just some ice cream and cookies because I wasn't feeling spectacular at this point, and we were going to be doing something with my sister later in the week, and she said, just go buy something. So I did. But these are actually Italian cookies from a great Italian bakery from the large metro area near where I live. So again, using one for a photograph, one for just a decoration, and that's so busy. I made it really simple, just the date. And then here is a journaling card, again from this year's Ellie Studio pack. Added a die cut, and then I had these little peppermint puffy stickers that I added here on the 2 bottom ones. I think I tried it up here, but it was a little bit big and it felt too weighty. So that's just a fun little add sometimes when you can pull things like that. And these are old. These are from Michael's from quite a few years ago. The next layout is about a holiday light show that my boyfriend and I do every year. It's fairly close to us. So this is the brochure. Nothing too exciting here. It's really meant for kids and promotion and that kind of stuff. This backside is not beautiful. At one point I thought about adding some paper to the back of this and just doing that, but I decided, and that because these are this is in with the Allie Edwards tabs. After I use these, they're big and they're not very pretty. So I'm not quite sure. I haven't watched any of her videos from this year to figure out how she's doing this. I think I'm going to leave this just as is. I'm really done and not looking forward to make any changes from here. On this, though, I did add a favorite holiday tradition in the best Christmas light display stickers there for something a little bit different on that, though. But so just, this could be another decorating opportunity with some stickers and other things. I just didn't do anything with it. Here again, I'm using my new favorite page protector. So this is just, there was a lot going on this night. Like we did this, or I'm sorry, we ate, and then we did the light display. I made my own card here, and I'm not in love with it, but you know what? Sometimes it just is what it is, and I'm leaving it. I just decided I'm going to leave it as is and not do anything more with it. I tried to give it a more Christmassy feel to make it work with all these colors, and I don't think it was particularly successful, but you know what? In a few years, I won't care, and the people looking at this book really won't care. So just some of our favorite light displays. And then the next spread goes for 3 pages on day 8. this is the 3x4, and then I used my first 2 4x6s, so a 2-up. Again, trying to get some different page styles in. The only page style I didn't use with what was the one where there's 2 4x4s, and then you get like a 2x8 strip. And a lot of times I like to take that 2x8 strip and make it a shaker pocket. Didn't end up using any of those. Didn't take any 4x4 photos this year at Christmas, so that was interesting. So this is a story of a wine walk that we did with my sister and brother-in-law. So my sister and I, my boyfriend and I, just a little card, again, 3x4 card, adding a sticker here, a little bit of chipboard here with it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. They live in a small town that has a village square, and they light the village square in the center of it, but then they also light all the buildings around it. And that is really cool because they then set those lights to music. So it's very fun. So besides the wine stuff that was going on here, we had all this other stuff. And then my sister had us take this kind of silly photo of the two of us with the sign of where they live. We sent this one to my mom. We happened to be in a wine store at that point. And it was just kind of fun. We sent it to my mom. So then the other thing I added here, again, now this time I cut those Allie Edwards tabs. I think when I do this next year, I'm only going to cut them so they're maybe like, I don't even know, maybe like a 1/2 inch wide, maybe a little bit more than that. I just don't like how big and chunky they are. So in this particular case, I saved this because this is the menu from the wine walk. There were some wines that I really enjoyed and wanted to keep that, but it's a fun memory. And then I just added some stickers from the sticker book from the Happy Holidays collection to kind of do a little bit of something there. And again, here, you know, you're looking at that. It's not the prettiest thing in the whole world, but I think it's fine. And I'm just realizing that there is a plastic coating on the back of this that I didn't even realize was here. So you guys, that actually makes this look a little bit better. Did not even realize it. So if you have these Allie Edwards tabs, yeah, do that. You could also, to make these look a little bit better, run like a border strip up here if you wanted to, a piece of paper to run over them if you wanted to. I'm sure there's ways that you can do that, to use that. And maybe next year when I feel better, when I'm doing December Daily, at least in the early part of it, I will think of those things. The story across from that is this time another 2 3x4s and a 4x6. But what I did with this one is I put it on a big 4x6 journaling card, but used half of it for a photo instead. So it looks kind of like the 3 4x4s, but it's not really. And I just, you know, added a few things. This is a story of my boyfriend and I kind of out wandering, and then we ended up in this small town. And took some pictures of their decorations. And then we were going to go see a light show there that ended up starting much later than it was supposed to. So we just went through a couple neighborhoods on the way home to look at lights. That's kind of our thing. The next day is a day where really not much happened. And on days that I work, what I do is I take photos of decorations around the house, things that I want to talk about, my everyday stuff, that kind of a thing. And I use those on the days that I work a lot. So what I did here is I took that 4 3x4 pockets and I just cut it in half, making sure that I'm cutting it to the right of this seam. And then you have a 2x2. Could you make this? Sure. I have a We Are Memory Keepers fuse tool, so I could do that. I also have different pockets, shapes, and that kind of stuff. But sometimes this is the fast way is the easy way, and great. So this is just a story. My sister gave me my birthday present early, a little birthday, because the wine walk was kind of a Christmas celebration, but also a birthday present for my boyfriend and I. But I'm sure you guys know this if you follow me. I'm going to Paris pretty soon, actually. And so my sister gave me a pair of Eiffel Tower socks that I happen to have on today, actually, and then like a travel sock. And they were so cute. I just wanted to get that documented. And this is just a card here, a 3x4 card. And then I you know, put some stickers and puffy stickers, the date. And then I really liked, I talked about this frequently. These were some phrases that Ellie Studio did this year, and I really enjoyed using those. I don't always enjoy those phrases, or I haven't as much in the past, but I really liked them this year. You know, who knew? I did a lot less wood veneer than I normally do, and that is. So the back side is the next day. This was the Monday-est Mondays of Mondays could ever be. I went out to start my car and the battery had died. In the end, things seemed fine, but I did go back later in the week and just bought a new battery because we had tested it, and we tested it and it was okay, but I just, once they do that, I just don't trust them after that. So it's a picture of my car in the garage waiting for the guy to come in, AAA to come and jump it. And then I got very sick at work a couple hours later and had to go home. So this is a day I should never have gone to work. So I did the Bah Humbug card, and then that Oh What Fun, and then this little sticker down here. And I did it in a different color to match this Hello Winter that says not. This actually was not particularly a very wintry day, but that's what happened. So again, a little, you know, a size difference, something to play with here. The next page is about my Christmas cards. Normally, I would either put my Christmas card in an envelope and attach it here. Sometimes I'll put it in a 6x8 page protector. Sometimes I'll just put holes in the card and attach it. But this year I had these 4 Disney, Mickey Mouse in particular, cards. And I had just enough to send to the people on my list. So I just took a photo and put that on the bottom, added a photo of my cards in front of my Christmas tree once they were all addressed and everything, and then added the in the mail today card from this year's 3x4 cards at Ellie Studio. These Ellie Studio things, by the way, were all available separately. So if you haven't started on your book or you're interested in them, it might be worth a look. Some of them were still available. And then I added, this thing went back and forth because I have this chipboard. I thought about the tree, then I added a piece of chipboard, and it bothered me when I did it. I think Claire made a comment about how it softened it like this. And I was like, I came back and looked at it again the next day, and it was really bothering me. So I went back to the tree with the sticker. So that's the story behind that. 2 3x4s, a 4x6. Here comes the first twine, and you know that that was one of those things that as I was going through my book, hey, Harmony and Sue, I just noticed that you guys had hopped on. Welcome back for the last December daily video of the year. So you guys know that I kept looking at this particular page and going, I need to get more twine in out of the top of the book because this one has it. So this is just a 3x4 card that I just punched a hole in and put the twine in it. This is a story of my second advent calendar, which is bookish. So, you know, there were a lot of book related things. I took this countdown paper again because it was about a calendar, and then added some die cuts from Ellie Studio, a tag from Ellie Studio, and put that there. So one of the things, you know, just to remind you, especially if you're still working on your book, go through it every so often and look and go, okay, what am I missing? What do I want to repeat? What haven't I done that I want to do? And that's kind of what I do. And I start kind of thinking about that kind of thing when I'm about halfway through the month and start thinking, okay, what do I need to repeat, or what kinds of things do I need to do? So then the next page is really the same configuration, basically, except 2 photos this time, and the journaling spot comes down here, but with some chipboard and die cuts and, you know, dates. And sometimes, you know, this date was done with puffy stickers. This is back to the Ellie Studio banners from this year. A story of retiring my ATG, my 12-year-old ATG. Who I named Pinky, and now I have Big Red. And just a little story, because I bought Big Red in October when I was at a crop because she was dying so much, and I had just put a new roll of tape in, and then that tape lasted from October until mid-October until December 14th. Now, I'm not scrapbooking as much out of regular layouts, as I have been, that, you know, having a boyfriend and grandkids and work and all that is taking up a lot more time. So anyway, but I just thought that was cute. Again, in my book, I like to document Christmas, but I also like to document every day as well. It's a snapshot of my life during these 32 days. And that's how I look at this. So if you're somebody who, you know, doesn't have small children, I do have grandkids, but you're not going to see them appear in here all that often. I do have a boyfriend, but even when I didn't, I still did this book. I think, did I figure out this was like year 17 for me of doing this, if I remember correctly. I still document every day, and you don't have to put the dates on there. It can be, I think there's one in here where I documented it. I did. There's one in here where I actually documented this with a current photo, documented a story from my childhood that related to something that was going on now. And that's, I also participate in Chamel's Journal Your Christmas every year. And that's her thing, is to tell current stories and past stories as well. So keep that in mind. You don't have to have small kids to do this project. I've never had small children when I've done this project. So anyway, wrapping paper. So this year I did that 2 3x4, 1 4x6 again. And this is a Christmas list I keep on my phone, so I kind of know how much I'm spending. And then this is a piece of my wrapping paper. Photo of the wrapped gifts, little bit of journaling here with just a piece of paper here, and then some die cuts and the number. I do my wrapping paper presentation differently kind of every year. Sometimes I do what I did here is I wrapped a card in it. Sometimes I'll put it in a bag, like a printed bag, and then you can just punch holes in it and put it in here. Sometimes I'll use a whole 6x8 page protector and use the wrapping paper as the background paper. I'm about ready to be done with this wrapping paper though, because I think I've had it 3 or 4 years now. Most of my stuff is not wrapped anymore. Most of it is in bags. As you can see, I wrap the kids' presents and the rest of it goes in a bag. So anyway, so that's kind of the wrapping paper story. The next page is one of those as I was going through and I'm like, where do I want to add another one of these vellum pages? And here, I didn't do it because I don't think these work together. I did it because this side is so busy and I wanted to give my eye a rest in between these two layouts. You can see they're very busy together. So I used basically the same thing. My reinforcer punch there, and then just the doily, some die cuts, and I bought this piece. I think this came from ColorCast, if I remember correctly, and I was going to hang it off my book or use it on the front of the book, and I decided not to do that, so I just used it here instead, and I think that worked out really well. So Harmony said she likes to wrap and put the wrapped gifts in the bag. She's so extra. Yeah, that would not be me. I don't like wrapping enough anymore, although somebody told me they wrap on their island in their house. And so I'm going to try that next year. My island's pretty small, but I think if I back it up to a counter in the kitchen, I can do it. And that will be the perfect height for wrapping. So we'll see how that goes. You know, when you're, next year I will be 60 at Christmas. Not quite there yet, though. Anyway, so then the back side of this, and this piece was added, I don't remember what day this came in on it, but much later than this one, much later than these layouts, and much later than these layouts. So this layout is a layout that I had a problem with, and at one point I had the 16 was in like a candy cane stripe, and it was bugging me and bugging me. It bugged me when I did it, but I said, okay, you know, done is better than none, but it kept bugging me. So when I came in and I did this, I went and I looked for just some red letters, changed this, and I now really like the page. It was that one thing that was just bugging me so much, and I changed it, and now I love it. So 4 3x4 pockets, and then this is a flip up piece that you can get from Simple Stories. They have these in different sizes. So that enabled me to put this cute picture of my boyfriend and my granddaughter. And another picture of the two of them, and then talking about the time that we spent with them. So we just went to drop something off and ended up there for like 2.5 hours. And then after that, we went to dinner and did another light show, which you'll see in a minute. That's on the back. Again, one of those word strips that I was really liking, die cuts there. So this is that that light show as well. And I like this one because it's all nature. And then I loved this one because there were 12 Days of Christmas lights, and the three French hens had an Eiffel Tower, which my boyfriend pointed out. So I just had to, take a photo of that. My pages, I don't worry that like these 2 pages, even though they're the same day, are not back to back. And the days change when the numbers change. And even if like it would be later, like, well, I pretty much try to put it so that it's on the first one you see. But sometimes, like if this was a 2-page layout, sometimes the number will end up over here. And you know what? I can read the journaling. I'll know for sure. It's not that important, but I don't worry so much about how things, that working specifically numerically, I guess. So this day is a story about getting ready for Paris. And I met my daughter-in-law and my best friend who are going with me. We did some planning. I did some shopping for a couple things that I needed. I had lunch at a little, I had a French pastry for lunch in that particular case. And then after that was done, I did some grocery shopping, and this was now, this is December 17th. So I was getting ready, getting some of the things that I was going to need to make cookies, and then some of the stuff that I was going to be using for Christmas, and then bought a new pair of jeans because I needed a couple pairs of jeans. So anyway, and then I love this all around the town Erin's card, which was in the LA studio this year. So next is a little bit of a different page. So I have a 6x8 page protector. That was one of the things that when I was thinking about prior to this, that I don't have any 6x8 pages in here. And I like that because it's a big page. You can kind of rest your eye. So I love Hallmark movies, and I just realized I'm going to take my pen out. I still haven't crossed off the last 2 here, so I will do that. Because otherwise it looks like I didn't watch the movies. But they do this calendar every year. I just take a screenshot of it on my phone and then print it in a 6x8. In this particular case, that is only this big, so I just used a 6x8 piece of paper behind it, added some puffy stickers and another phrase, and that page is done. Except I did decide that I wanted to add a little bit of journaling to it. And I liked this A Little Holiday Magic card, but obviously that doesn't fit on here. So I put one of those Ellie Edwards tabs, and now I've really cut this down. And this is kind of what I'm thinking I'm going to use next year, how I'm going to cut that down. And then, so I journaled on the front of it, added this die cut that matches these puffy stickers so that it pulls the pages together. And then the back was plain, so I just added a piece of paper that I had that was a little busy, added a wood veneer, and these came from Colorcast, I'm pretty sure, and then a sticker that says December on repeat, because that is what I did during December. I didn't feel well, so I would have watched a lot of Hallmark movies, but I watched a lot of movies this year. And then this page didn't have this tag in it, but I was talking at one point about how I didn't have any other tags, and that was bothering me, and I needed to really think about how I would include them. And one of my subscribers, who I keep forgetting to look this back up, said, why don't you do it on your Hallmark movie page? And sure enough, that worked beautifully. So this tag is really non-functional. Well, I guess I can pull the whole thing out, but it's really there just to get another tag. And I liked it because then when I looked at this, the red was on the outside of the pages, and the red twine, and then the green twine was on the inside. So if nothing else, I had 2 in there, and I felt a little bit better about it. But I do really like how that looks, it gives your eye a place to focus up here at the top. I mean, we kind of read from the top anyway, but it gives it a whole nother focus, which I really liked. So then the back side of this, and I don't mind if I see these blank tags at the top, by the way. Some people that would bother, you could always put a little bit of pattern paper on that if that bothers you. This is the place where I told the story of something past that influences something in the present. So this is a picture of my tree this year. My big tree. I have 2 other smaller ones that I put up. And I love these wood veneer bells because I'm going to tell us, I told the story of the bells on the bottom of my tree. When I was a child, we would put bells on the branches on the bottom of our tree so that when Santa came, we could hear him and catch him. So of course we never did, but you know, that was a story, a fond story I loved of childhood. When I became an adult and went out on my own, actually even when I had roommates, I bought bells to put on the bottom of the tree. I am now just short of 60 years old and I still do it. So I love the way that worked. Now, this particular one, I didn't have room to journal that story. So I grabbed a card, a joy card here, because this does make me joyful. It's happy memories, and journaled that story with some wood veneer here to bring that together. And then had this, filler card, because they do make some filler cards to put in with the Ellie Studio packs. That's all about bells. Added some a wood veneer here, and then added the enamel dots. So I'm using wood veneer and enamel dots in all these cards. And this is another one of those 4 3x4s that I just cut. And then the back side of this really is something that I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. I was thinking about having a picture taken with my boyfriend, and you'll see, because that does later appear, and there was a card I really wanted to use with the 2 of us, but instead there's a bunch of these currently during the holiday cards that I haven't used every year, and I found this one and decided, you know, that would be a good thing. Just like, this is what's going on right now. This is day 19. We're almost to Christmas. I was starting to feel better, but still wasn't great. So what I did is I did the currently thing just to talk about what I was doing. And then on this top card, I actually journaled my thoughts about this particular holiday season because it was rough. It was very different. I didn't do nearly the activities that I normally would have. It took me a long time to feel the joy of the holiday season because I was so sick. And I wanted to get that in here because even though it's bad or not as pleasant, that is part of this holiday season. And then this card, by the way, I actually ended up writing on the back of it a little bit, not as much as I thought I was going to, but when I do that, I either write over or put an arrow there so that I know there's more there if I want to. And now, is there something negative in my book? Yep, but that's real life, right? It's not all, you know, roses all the time. So that's that. So this doesn't really have a date assigned to it, but it is right before Christmas, talking about how I'm starting to feel that joy coming back. And then again, one of those cards, just adding a little puffy sticker and a candy cane to kind of pull that together, adding the green on the red and the red on the green too, to kind of pull those 2 cards together, even though they're not completely related. The 20th of December was a story about my best friend and I celebrating Christmas together, 3 3x4s, 2 photos, a journaling card where I added some stickers to it to kind of pull it in. So it had more of a Christmas feel. This is they're stars, but I wanted it even a little bit more Christmassy. And then just a little sticker about being naughty or nice. And then I pulled in another filler card here of a Christmas tree. And just a sticker that says holiday cheer. And I was unsure about doing this, but the more I look at this, the more I like this, you know, just adding it across the bottom of that. And the mug here says, so this is my friend who's going to Paris with me. She found me a coffee mug that says Je t'aime, which is, I love that mug. I love her. I love the mug. All right. So backside, day 21. Day 21 is important because I bake sugar cookies, and this is the 50th year that I have done that. So I linked something from the past to the present again. So this is the first time I did it, I was 9. My sister and I did it. My mom was busy, but we wanted to bake cookies, and she said, then go ahead and do it. So she never baked sugar cookies again after that year. I did it. I've been baking the sugar cookies for years and years now for my families. And at first I baked a lot. Now I just do a batch, and that's, that's plenty for all of us. We don't eat them like we used to. But my mom gave my sister and I each this ornament that year. So she's 50 years old. I have a couple things on my tree that are more than 50 years old, and this is one of them. So I like how I'm doing a current activity but linking it to the past. I think that makes the book even more meaningful, especially because one of my grandsons, my oldest grandson, will come in and look at these books. And if he wants to, or if in the future they want to look at them, the stories it won't be just of this. It's a story of my life, from when I was younger to now when I'm older. So then just kind of the bones of it, another one of these flip pages, and then just a piece of paper with die cuts, and then the pictures of the process here. And I also made this kind of funny because I had a repairman here when I was cutting the cookies out, and the dough sat a lot longer and got really soft. And so they're not very snowman shaped. And there's a whole story behind why I used just a snowman cookie cutter that I have told in a past journal. So I didn't talk about that this year. But anyway, another filler card here too. So there's a journaling card. And I did this one, like this one says over, because I have more on the back of this. So obviously when I do that, I don't glue the two pieces together like I do. Most of the time I glue these two back to back. So they're melting snowman shape. There we go, Harmony. Yes, they were really scary looking, but they still tasted delicious, and that's all I really cared about. So anyway, but note to self, if you have a repairman, don't try to cut the cookies, just leave them. So this was a spot where I could have put in another one of those vellum separators because I think they don't work completely well together, but I decided this is getting really chunky and I think it's enough. And I don't really have to have this. So this day is the story of me going out to dinner at a fabulous farm-to-table restaurant with one of my close friends, and just kind of, a journaling card. And this, I used this like fir and pine cones because that was how the whole restaurant was decorated. And you can see even in the arch here, but even where we're standing, the fir and pine cones was a big thing. So I do like doing this in my Christmas journal, but also in my regular scrapbooking where I'll use things that help me remember. But if you're just looking at this, you'd think, oh, that's a nice, card with some pine branches and that kind of stuff. But that's why that's there. And then this little cocktail thing we had, I had an old fashioned. That is a Wisconsin thing. Well, it's all over the place, but in Wisconsin we drink brandy old fashions, and it was fabulous. And then she had a different cocktail. So I just wanted to kind of get that we were drinking these special Christmas cocktails because mine did have some special things about it for Christmas. So that's just a fun memory preserved. I'm smiling thinking about how much fun we had that night. The next day is a date day. This is day 23, right? Yes, day 22, day 23. So we're almost to Christmas. And my boyfriend and I went adventuring. We went up to, we wanted to do something low key, but still go out. So we went to a winery that we had been to in the summer because they had some music. And then we just had a pizza. So I did use another one of those flip up pieces from Simple Stories because I had this picture that I really loved. And then there's this funny story, and it's really hard to see this unless I brought this in close. But when my boyfriend was eating this, they had 2 dogs kind of running around, and one of them really thought he was really nice and was going to feed him. So he made a new friend. So I put this little asterisk near there so you would see his face. Otherwise, you'd wonder, why am I taking a picture of that? Because that's not a particularly gorgeous picture, which is why it's in the flip up versus, out out. And then just 2 pictures of us that I like. This one was kind of fun because I did I took one of the puffy phrases and just put it right on this blank spot in that photo. And I kind of like how that looks, something a little bit different. Another one of those little cocktail pieces as well there too. And then when we were done here, we actually ended up going to the light show that we couldn't do a couple weeks before. So and I was actually kind of glad because I felt much better at this point, and it was a really warm night. We don't even have hats on. That's unheard of in December in Wisconsin. But so I took some pictures of that light show. And then, oh, I forgot about that. There's a flip up here too. So there's flip ups on both sides so that I could get a couple more pictures in. I did think about taking this one and another one and doing full 12 by 12 spreads of these, but I don't think I'm going to. We do those 2 light shows every year, and I think I have enough to remember it, right? So this one is Christmas Eve, and we spent a quiet Christmas Eve by ourselves. There's a whole story here about we have been dating for 3 Christmases, and the first one that we have actually been able to spend together, because 2 years ago my boyfriend got exposed to COVID right before Christmas, and we were all still fairly cautious and couldn't really test. The tests were just coming out at that point. And then last year he actually got COVID on the 23rd. So as we were coming up to it, it was like, are we going to make it? Are we going to make it? And we did, even though I was sick, but not contagious at that point. So there's a picture of the 2 of us. There was a Packer game that day, although when we did this, I never took a picture while we were watching the Packers, because it was actually a good game. So I just took another picture. I love this photo because it's a picture of my boyfriend's feet as we're just kind of watching TV, but you can see a lot of my living room and into my kind of dining area. You can see my TV, you can see kind of what my furniture looks like, and in the back you can see the doors with my Christmas cards on. So I love how that's a slice of life at Christmas. So just, you know, it's not a particularly gorgeous picture, but sometimes those are the best. You know, in the future, we're probably going to look at some of this stuff and go, oh my gosh, look at that giant TV, or, you know, we'll make comments about that. We had chili, so I took a picture of the inside of the chili pot. I was going to take a picture of, that happened frequently this year. I was going to take a picture of and then didn't. So I either didn't use a picture at all, or I just used this picture, which isn't particularly lovely, but it's a snapshot. And then during part of the game, because I started this before my boyfriend came over, I made a slab apple pie. And what that is it's made in a jelly roll pan. So it's a rectangle and it's huge, and it is so big. It's just crazy. It's like twice the size of a normal apple pie. And I had never made a homemade pie crust before. I love to bake, but pies crust scared me. And I started to do the combination of the flour and the butter with my pastry blender, and it wasn't working. And I thought, this is never going to work, or my arm is going to fall off before I get this incorporated. And then in the back of my mind, I remembered that you could use your Cuisinart food processor to put the pie crust together, and I will never be scared of pie crust again because it was so fast. So my poor boyfriend, who'd been waiting for his slap apple pie for 3 years, finally got it on Christmas Day, because this was made for Christmas Day. So this is 2 3x4s, a 4x6, and then this is the back side of one of those flip outs. So 4 3x4s, and then I added in another tag here. I thought, oh, this is kind of a cute place to put one. And it actually says fa la la love. And then there's a story here about us not spending Christmas together in our 3 years of dating until this Christmas. And only I know that story is there, which is fine. Either way. So, there we go. There it is. So fa la la love. All right. Just a puffy sticker here, by the way, and puffy numbers to just zhuzh that card up a little bit so that I'm bringing red and green to both sides. Okay. Next day is Christmas Eve, or Christmas Day, and this layout's a hot mess. but I'm okay with it. I really wanted to do another sequin pocket spot, and I thought this was a great place to put it. In retrospect, there is so much going on here that it's really busy, but I do love this pocket. So I used some wood numbers, some more of those sequins, and then just sealed it in. Well, actually, I sealed it here on the side. In retrospect, if you do this, put half the number of sequins in that you normally would have, because there's way too many sequins in here. It kind of looks like a mess versus as pretty as those shaker pockets are. And maybe I'm being overly critical, but it is what it is. So anyway, but I do love it. I love it, but I think it's a hot mess all at the same time. And then originally I had this card here, and I had it here. I didn't like seeing that behind this 25, so I pulled that out here. All the white gave my eye more of a place to rest with all the stuff going on here. And then I put the picture here. And I had done it so things were sort of in order, but it worked out great in the end. This is a little story of that morning my boyfriend brought me, he forgot when we celebrated the day before, he forgot this at home because he had tucked it away. And he knows how much I love the word joy, and he saw it at the dollar store and bought it for me. So I think next year what I'm going to do with this is put greenery somewhere, maybe here, maybe up here, but like just a little pine branch or sprig, maybe a couple small ones, to just give it even more of a Christmassy feeling, because I don't have black and white anywhere else really in my decorating, but if I put a little pine on there, we'll all be good. And then the other thing, because this layout, it's not like it doesn't already have like 10,000 things going on here. But I also used a flip up here. And this is where, so I love this picture of us. We had that picture taken because we finally spent Christmas Day together. And then some of my friends were taking photos of their pets on Christmas Day, and I no longer have pets. So I said to my boyfriend, hey, give me a big smile. Look at me and give me a big smile. And he looks like a little kid here to me. And then I used that All I Want for Christmas Is You card, which is the one I was talking about before, where I did something else instead of this. So there's a picture of us, and All I Want for Christmas Is You. All right. So there was so much going on here. We needed some separation between that and this. Even though I tried to make this plain, there still is a lot going on there. So again, doilies. So this will be the third page. This case, some die cuts, some chipboard, some stickers. You know, I think I played around with this particular side quite a bit before I finished it. But I think it gives your eye a place to rest. I feel much better about this page too now that this is there, because there is a place for your eye to rest. You're not just looking at the next page. And then again here, I really like the way this page looks. And I got another 2 4x6s in, because this is only the second one in the book, but I wanted another one. I don't like to use just one type of page protector if I can avoid that. But did it pretty plain, and I do like it because there's a lot of people in these photos, and so I'm talking about, I got to meet my boyfriend's favorite aunt and uncle, and then he has a sister named Kelly. So of course we love that, and we had never had a picture taken together, and she said, let's take our picture together. So we did that, and then took a picture of him with his 2 Kellys. So I thought that was kind of fun. And then just added in the word joy here, because y'all know that's my favorite word, whether it's Christmas or not. And some die cuts and stickers there. I loved this cute little, this is Ellie's Studio, this cute little journaling card, and Ellie's Studio banner. I haven't been talking as much about where things came from, but you can always ask. And then again, now back here with the two 4x6s. This is another one of those days where I worked, and then so I had taken some things around my house, pictures of some things around my house that I hadn't gotten in yet. So this is perfect for this. So a new mug that I bought at Kohl's that I was using for Christmas and will continue to use throughout the winter. And then an electric heated throw that I used a lot while I was sick, and just continue to use it. And just really liked that this has a really cozy vibe. I talked about the coziness of all this, how these two things really are bringing me joy this season. And then one of the things as I was creating this page, and there are, by the way, there are videos for every one of these days out there separately, so you can watch me create the pages if you haven't already done that or want to catch up or want to go back to something. But I talked about how I was trying to echo shapes here, like round here. So we talked a little bit about that. Besides how I'm always echoing colors, I have 2 embellishment clusters that are very different, but they have elements that are somewhat the same. The next day, I did a small page here again, where I cut the 4 3x4 page protectors in half. I love those kinds of photos too, Harmony. And I did told the story of this swag. One of my friends / clients makes me one of these every year. She hand does them, and they're just beautiful. Like, she dries the oranges and stuff like that to get ready to make them. And there's pieces that she's taken out of her garden, and she combines both real and artificial. And I just love how this card is very simple and just echoes that. My the reason that Mary started, because the top of this is kind of ugly, because you can kind of see my like address number, and I didn't really love it, but that Mary did a nice job of hiding that. So, and then I did time to decorate here, even though this is now the 28th of December, but I was decorating and I just hadn't put this in the book yet, right? Then on the back side of that, again, I'm just doing some filler stuff here that I want to include most years and hadn't done it yet. So in this particular case, I took the holiday playlist card that came in the LA Studio pack this year. Sometimes I talk about the albums I'm listening to, that kind of a thing. This time I talked about like my favorite songs that I was listening to. And it took me a long time to listen to Christmas music this year, just because I didn't feel well for so long. So it wasn't like I was doing stuff around the house. I was laying on the couch a lot watching movies. But kind of like that way that worked. These December 2023s came in my LA Studio die cut pack. I had 2 of these. So I've used one here. I used that acrylic 2020, December 2023. And I will use this on like a 12 by 12 layout that I do have some of my grandkids layouts. So anyway, so here's another one of those fillers, but it got some stuff in that I wanted to get recorded for the year. Speaking of that, on the 29th, my photos are all about the Christmas ornaments from this year. So the new Christmas ornaments I bought, and I got in trouble at Kohl's one day, and it's because they had all sorts of cute Disney things and cartoon characters and games, and I have a tree that is, I call it the grandchildren's tree, because it's cartoon characters, it's books, like children's books, it's games, that kind of stuff. And so anyway, so I'm using a flip out here, and plain piece of paper here, a couple of die cuts. I thought this was fun when I ended up doing this, is I used some twine, tucked it in between the photo and this card, so it looks like those 2 ornaments are hanging, and then just added a little bit of journaling on the front here. Added some stickers, different number, I think that was numbers from last year, and then more of the ornaments, and then journaled here about why I chose each of these ornaments for this particular year. And I just packed up this tree yesterday, so fun to see those ornaments. Back side of that is all about last Saturday when we celebrated Christmas with my grandkids. So this is a flip out on this side, just, you know, the back side of that flip out here. So it's 3 by 4. So lots of pictures of the kids here. Not a lot of embellishment, just because I'm getting the pictures of the kids in. So I did use this Christmas gathering card. I decided to use these label stickers because I hadn't really used them. And I normally love label stickers like that, but that's just how it went this year. Some years I, don't use them, and I'll go back and I'll use them all up next year. And then to give it a little bit more something, I used these puffy hearts from last year's collection and added them in on the photos with the label stickers. And then added, after I journaled, I added 2 more on here. And I like that because this, I was bringing the red and green together, or the red and blue in some cases, but I like, this would have been felt very plain, except I really like how that looks now with those 2 hearts, and it echoes everything else that was going on there. All right, and then this is just the back side of that layout. And this is more like, this is a snapshot of what was going on, you know, like the lovely chaos of having 4 grandkids, and they had opened their presents. And I love the expression on his face, and how my daughter-in-law is putting the makeup on that I bought my granddaughter as part of her present. And my youngest grandson is trying to convince his dad to play a game with him. And just, it's cute. And then how that's what we did for the rest of the night, is we played games with the kids. So that was really fun. Next comes another, this is one of those things, I'm like, I need to get another loose card in here. So how can I do that? In this particular case, I used the journaling card first and journaled about it. And I love, this is probably the favorite card of mine, but it took until, like, I think I did do this on New Year's Day on the 31st. So I added a wood veneer book and heart on this, journaled about what's going on the back side. So I buried the lead a little bit here. It was the 31st. So I think I did this last year too, where I did record the amount of books that I read for 2023. I just pulled it off of, I use Goodreads to track my books. So I just took a little screenshot, taped it to or glued it to a piece of paper, glued that to the back of this card, added another sticker, time to celebrate, and another wood veneer piece to pull that together. And the reason I did it is I didn't love this with this layout. If I was looking at it, if it was laying it over it, and I think I actually started with it, doing it so that this was laying on top of this so you could see it, and then flipped this part way through, took it out and flipped it, if I remember correctly. That's what happened. So I read 186 books last year, and that's just crazy. Still don't know how I did that, but I did. Anyway, and then this is New Year's Eve. We had a very quiet New Year's Eve. The Packers played late in the evening, so we just had pizza and watched the win. I was going to take a picture. This is another one. I was going to take a picture of the TV screen while we were watching the game. Forgot to do it again because it was a really, well, if you're a Packers fan, it was a really good game. If you're a Vikings fan, it was not a good game. But then I went to the Packers Facebook page, and they had this picture of Jordan Love, who's our quarterback, with the win, and then this cute little Happy New Year, and this is Lambeau Field in the background. So I thought that was really appropriate because it is. And then I just like this pine and pine cone card, and I did journal. I think I talked about this both with the smaller one. I did journal along here, but I don't like it unless, when I do this, I don't like to do that unless I do something to separate those 2 areas. It just looks funny to me to have that transition. So I just added in this little Happy New Year, and that did it for me. And I really like how that looks. This is finally, I used some of the craft paper. There were 2 sheets of craft paper in the Ellie Studio paper pack this year, and I hadn't used any. And last but not least, day number 32, which is, and I'm like, where's the number? There's the number, which is talking about the gifts my clients gave me this year, and then some other miscellaneous things. So this was really the page that I wanted to do, and then I had some other miscellaneous things that I wanted to get recorded. So I just used this, I found this 4x6 cut apart that said it's the most wonderful time of the year, and that's how I really felt about the season, most of the season, and my clients and how generous they are. So then what I do is I take a picture of all the gifts, and then I use this tag and journal about who gave me what so I don't forget that, and just tucked it in here. Obviously, I'm not going to glue that down, so I just tucked it on a piece of paper. And serendipitously, yeah, okay, it was serendipity that then I had my 4th twine on a tag here. And the cool part about that is 2 outside of the page, 2 inside of the page, red, green. You know, could have gone, you know, green, red, whatever. I just like the way that looks now. Really love the way that looks. So that's really the page. And then we'll talk about my calendar, but normally I probably at this point would have just glued my calendar to the back of this, but because it's this velvet texture, I don't want to do that. So what I did here is I just grabbed this other sheet of paper and then did these things that I had taken these photos and did want to get them into this year. And kind of that was in the back of my head at the end, I could do that. So now I have another 6x8 full sheet, you know, 2 full sheets of a layout. So that's another page protector style that I've used more than one of. But in this case, it's a Mickey tree topper. And this is the grandkids tree, actually, that I was just showing you the new ornaments for. My Christmas cards and how I display them. I think it's kind of fun to look at those every year and just remember the greetings. I do save some special cards, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then any card with a photo I save. They're actually sitting in a basket right next to me because I eventually do a very simple scrapbook page where I collage all the photos together and then the year and put it in the scrapbook for that year. And then this is, I bought a new Santa this year. And then last year I had a new one too, but I don't think I ever recorded him. So I have a small Santa collection here and just added a couple stickers, labels. There's a puffy sticker here, chipboard here, and we're done. And then lastly, this is my calendar with everything filled in, the different activities that I did on different days. And I like to usually decorate these a little bit, even though they come that way. So I just used 2 pieces of washi tape and I wrapped them around and put them in between these 2 sheets of paper. Added a puffy tree and then some little puffy sprinkles, as Shamel calls them, on it, and called it done. And I actually really love the way this calendar looks. And it's funny because when I look at this, I could just write sick because this is where literally I went to bed or put my pajamas on at 5 o'clock this day and then did not do a thing. I laid on my couch until I went back to work on that day. So just interesting. And maybe I will do, I'll come back in and just write that across there or something like that, because that is kind of the way the season went, right? So the last thing, and I took these out just because otherwise it would have been hard to lay flat. I always save, I told you I saved some special Christmas cards, and hello Harmony, you're here. So I always save any handmade Christmas cards that people make me. Sometimes I'll glue 1 or 2 of them, but I do glue these to they're actually glued to this piece of paper, just the back, so that I can pull that paper out and look at them again. Harmony happens to know how much I love the word joy, so she made me a card that involved that word, and it's just beautiful, and I so appreciate that. And then these came from 2 clients who, one of them, yeah, actually they both made their cards now that I think about it. So that's really special. When somebody takes the time to make me a homemade card, I save it always, whether it's a Christmas card or something else. And then lastly, these are cards from special people here. So like this one is what, and I don't have these glued in. I could, but I just didn't. It's just as easy not to. Some years I do, some years I don't. This is a card from my grandkids' family. There's the card from my boyfriend. This is a card from my best friend. And then lastly, this is just the card. I have a client who does this every year. They give me, or 2 clients, they give me a card that's similar. When I pull this out, it's 3D. So it sits on a shelf every year until it's all done. But I really like including that. That's so big I didn't need to do this, but every one of these otherwise is on, and all of these are on 6x8 pieces of paper. So it was a nice way to get the 6x8 paper in here as well that I hadn't used as much of. And especially because I find these white backgrounds a little bit harder to use than I do when they're more solid. So you can see they're all on there, but they look great because the cards themselves have a lot going on. And those will just sit right in the back of my very chunky book, as you can see. And that's why I took them out. So that will sit now on my shelf just as is. I am done with this. I'm not going to change anything other than I'm going to go back actually and check off those Hallmark movies that I had not checked off yet when I did that. I had 2 more movies to watch, so I'll get those checked off. But other than that, that's just going to sit on the shelf the way it is. I store it in Calyx, my albums in Calyx units, so there's plenty of space above this. I don't like it to come too far above the top of the album, and really the cards are like this top card here is sitting right at the top of the album just because I don't want it to get bent or anything in the end. But that, guys, is the flip through of this year's album. And I have the one thing I didn't say is that I still do not have all the layouts up on Flickr. Normally I have an album for all of my layouts that I do. I think I have them up until about the 15th of December. I've got a little bit of time now. I'm going to try to take photos of all of them, and then hopefully it doesn't take that long to really upload them once you get them ready to go, and then just upload them from there. So that's what I'm hoping is going to happen as soon as I'm done working or talking to you guys today, so I can finally get those up because it's bothering me. And I want to put this on the shelf so it's protected. Normally what I do is I display this in my scrapbook room throughout the holiday season. Well, my Christmas decorations are now all officially down because someone's leaving for Paris very shortly. Won't give you the exact day, but you know, be on the lookout for that Paris video I promised you, as long as my phone is working properly. So thank you, Sue. Thanks, Janet. Thanks. Yeah, and thanks for saying it's beautiful and thoughtful. And really, I really like to do that. I like to include a snapshot of my life, right? Because that's why I'm doing this. Otherwise, it's just, for me, if there's not thought put behind it, it's just a series of pictures that don't really mean that much, or that people have to really interpret. And I love looking at these. Now, I will tell you, I did not do something this year that I normally do. Normally on Thanksgiving weekend, at some point, I have a basket of my smaller handmade albums. By the way, this will be in the December 2023 December Daily playlist. There is also a December Daily album flip through playlist as well, and this will be in there as well. So I have a bunch of albums that early on in that first 17 years, I handmade them, like chipboard and with paper glue to it and that kind of stuff. And I bring that out and I look through those. I look through these. I may not look through all of them every year, but usually I do look through some of them. It never happened this year. I went right from finishing Christmas decorations to laying on my couch, so I didn't get it done. But that is one of the things I love, to look back at those memories. So anyway, I guess the reason I told you about the playlist is that if you need inspiration or just want to look at what some of my earlier albums look like, and I think I first started doing process videos of them in 2016. So I do have some earlier albums in that. And I keep saying this, I'm hoping that maybe this year I have some time to add flip throughs of some of my earlier albums that I haven't recorded yet. So anyway, but yeah, I love this. I love going back because it is my life, and it's just kind of fun to look back at it. And I will tell you, there was a year where my dad and a close friend died, a year where I got divorced. There was a year where my best friend died that year. Those Christmases were hard Christmases. And I can look back at those Christmases and see where I was trying to bring joy into the season. And that's where my love for that word comes from, by the way, because Christmas of 2016 was really hard. And I just decided in 2017 that there was going to be joy back in my life. And by the end of 2017, there was, or 2016, I think it was 2015. That's what it was. 2015 was really hard. And in 2016, I decided that there was going to be joy. And that's where my love for that word comes from. But I can definitely see that in that 2015 album, me grasping to find moments of joy. And if you ever have watched Shamel talk about her Christmas album, the reason she started Journal Your Christmas was because she had a Christmas that was not great and a series of Christmases that were not great. And she just started journaling good things about that year and about past memories until she found her joy. And now it's turned into this whole Christmas album thing and something she's fairly well known for. So, thanks, Harmony. That's really sweet. You all bring me a lot of joy, in all seriousness. So thanks for walking along the process. Thanks for being so gracious and kind and listening to me cough for, 32 days and 33 actually with today. But just for always being so sweet and complimentary and with good questions. You saw places where I talked about where I'd done something, wasn't in love with it, and then one of you said to me, hey, how about, and that happened also during the pages as well, but that you said something. So that really helps me too, is that sometimes it gives me suggestions on how to do stuff. So you guys, as always, I should say, I always read your comments. I see them every time. I just have gotten so crazy busy that I don't always have time to comment on them. So I'll try to like them when I can. Definitely, if you ask me a question, I will answer it. I save it in my email until I answer it, and usually within just a couple of days. But know that I am reading every one of your comments, just not just on this project, but also on the regular 12 by 12 layouts. And I need to get going and scrapbook some more 12 by 12 layouts because I'm running out of pre-filmed videos. So that will be a project. I am working on some Paris stuff tomorrow, like, I'll give you a hint, packing, kind of starting some of my packing. And then maybe I'll have some time tomorrow to actually do a video or two, which would be lovely. So thanks, you guys. Take care. Thank you again for joining me on one of, well, it is my absolute favorite project of the year. If you're still working on your books, have fun. Really, seriously, have fun. And thank you so much. Thanks, Harmony. Take care, you guys. Bye, everybody.